Yeah.
Hi, I'm Anya.
Hi, Anya.
And I'm Gretchen.
Hi, Gretchen.
And we're from the Santa Barbara Middle School Teen Press here with
Andrew Halliwell, producer, composer of Occupy the Movie.
Could you define social justice and how the movies contribute to social justice?
How films contribute to social justice? I would say that, the kind of information you have to research in order to be learned and to know a lot about the things that are going on around you in the world is a bit daunting for people. It's too much. It's to work a full-time job, to feed your kids, to enjoy your life, and to be keep abreast of all the current events that are going on in the world is a lot to ask people, because you have to read articles. You have to. That's my job as a documentary filmmaker. So leave it up to me. I will condense it all for you and put it into a feature-length film that will show you the events that have played out over the last year or two that pertain to your life and pertain to your future, what your future is going to look like, and the democracy in your country. So I think that's how films serve the social justice cause, because it's like an abridged version of the current events of the last year. Yeah. Thank you.
Can you please tell us about your film?
Okay, so Occupy the Movie is a feature-length documentary about the Occupy Wall Street movement that sprang up out of New York. Basically what happened is there were some issues going on in the country, not just in America, but it was affecting the system, the economic system around the world, because we're all globalized now. We all share businesses, and we all export our products and import products that we're all interconnected. So if something dramatic happens here, it's going to affect people elsewhere. Now, Occupy was told, Wall Street told Occupy, you should go to your government. You should go to Washington, D.C., and you should speak to them, because they're the ones that can give you an answer. They're the ones that can give you change. And then the government, Congress, Senate, presidents, whatever, said, you should go back to Wall Street, because Wall Street is really where the problems lie. It's these people that, deal enormous sums of money that can really affect the lives of millions of people that live in this country, especially on the poverty line. So the film touches on not just Occupy, but uses Occupy as a contemporary example of political movements in general. You've learned about Martin Luther King?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Martin Luther King died in April of 1968, and he led the civil liberties movement that harkened back to the plight of poor people, and not just black people, but poor people alike. It was, speaking to a wide audience. Now, he was assassinated, sadly, but decades on, we venerate him as a hero, and now we have a holiday for Martin Luther King. So I would say that, Occupy Wall Street was met with a lot of criticism off the top shortly after it sprang up. But in, a decade's time, we'll probably say, if the banks are ever deregulated here, if they're ever split up, we'll say, oh, well, Occupy Wall Street was responsible for that. It was we could accredit that to Occupy Wall Street. So our film touches on kind of like a follow-up to Inside Job, touches on banking, touches on corruption in media, and but then also speaks to how social change is carried from David's generation to my generation to your generation, and it's something that takes place like a torch carried at Olympic ceremonies, opening ceremonies. It's something that we pass on decade after decade, and if we just stay focused and we all represent the same values and we hold them dear, we can achieve the goals that we want to achieve. Mm-hmm. But it's really just to set long-term goals that will pay off, and to stick by them. to stay true to them. Yeah. So sorry, that was a bit of a long way.
Why film? Why not choose another way to get the word out there?
Well, if a picture says 1,000 words and there are 30 frames per second in a film, then you're saying an awful lot that you couldn't say in a radio program or you couldn't say in a podcast. As a more contemporary example. Why film? I mean, film's a beautiful medium. You can. You have so much to explore. I mean, not just in what the interviewees are saying. Why are you filming this? Because the visual sensation of just watching me express with my face and my hands and my body gestures is offering stimulation to the viewer, hopefully, or else you could just take the audio from this interview and publish that online or in your class. There is an unspoken value to audio visual stimulation when they're married together like this. Also in film you can put in music, and music can stir. I also compose the music for Occupy the movie, so you can also stir up emotion that way by composing music that serves to the subject matter that somebody's talking about, or so really you can engage the audience on all sorts of sensory perceptions. And I think that's why there's a beauty in film, and that's why film festivals exist all over the world, because a lot of people understand that and appreciate the cultural value that film offers. Yeah.
So what is your favorite part about filmmaking?
I would have to say that so in filmmaking, you could break it down into three parts. There's pre-production, production, and post-production. So pre-production is when you're devising the idea of what is this film going to be. You're writing the script, maybe you're booking some key crew, like your director, your cinematographer, your actors, director, that sort of thing. And then there's production, and it's actually going to the location where you want to film. You're capturing all the footage that you're going to use in post-production, where you start editing and doing the sound design and doing the music and color correction. I would say that production is my favorite step. It's just reminiscing, thinking back to the time when I was in Boston and New York, and interviewing a lot of the people who were instrumental in starting Occupy Wall Street. And I got to meet Noam Chomsky and Cornel West, who's a professor at Princeton University, Chris Hedges, who's a journalist, a lot of people that I really admire. And I thought, the only reason I'm here in the same room as you, being able to ask you questions and speak to you as I'm not just somebody on the other side of a YouTube channel now, just watching you. I'm in the same room as you and engaging with you, asking questions. I was elated. I was on top of the world, just being able to share the same space as these people who I admire, and say so many things that I value. But I think that's my favorite step. We had two backpacks on with our cameras in, and then two tripods and a light for our interviews, and we were just going up and down Manhattan all day long, 16 hours a day, going back to New Jersey where I was staying with a friend, and putting all the footage onto hard drives and backing it up. And that to me was why I do this. Yeah. That kind of adventure, that gives me a great sense of joy and satisfaction to do that. But then also we just did the world premiere, and seeing other people watch it and seeing where they laugh and they giggle and where they gasp at certain events, because I don't know if you'll experience it with the footage that you'll get from this or from earlier interviews, but once you start editing something, you're too close to it. You're too you become too connected to it that you can't express your opinions objectively. It's like, I don't know if this is good or bad. Yeah. So I really need to consult the opinion of just the general public or the audience to know if I did a good job, whether they like what I did. So people seem to enjoy it, and I'm glad. Yeah. So.
So our school motto this year is "Larger Voices Calling." What is a larger voice that calls to you?
A larger voice that calls to me. A larger voice that calls to me is the voice of education, the voice of, I think the collective voice of just curiosity, education. Whoever out there, whether it be Neil deGrasse Tyson or science educators or authors who educate us on the things that are going on in our world, and the sort of collective voice that they share in educating our younger generation and moving forward, because that is really what's going to enable you and you to move into the future and do a better job than we did, and do a better job than his generation did, because you're going to have access to information thanks to that collective voice than we ever had, thanks largely to the internet. But I think that's the voice that I listen to. Just tap into all this information that's available now. It's an incredible resource, and not to be taken for granted. It's like the greatest gift that our generation will ever know. Yeah, just the internet and that sort of thing. The sharing of information. Yeah, we started off by making a short film series, like 5 to 10 minute long short films that we just uploaded to YouTube for free, and we released them throughout the sort of Occupy Wall Street movement as it was gaining prevalence, and it seemed to strike a chord with people. People were watching them, and they were getting. One of them got millions of views, and we got a lot of fans and a lot of support, and we thought, listen, there's something going on here. There's something going on here that is beyond both of our comprehensions. That there are a lot of people in the world who are on the same page about what's going on. We agree that there's corruption. We agree that somehow politicians and media and banking are all saying things behind closed doors and making agreements behind closed doors that we're not cognizant of. And it's to our detriment. So we just, I think it's, you build it, if you build it, they will come. And you just have to believe that if you're doing something that has journalistic integrity and you're doing it for posterity's sake, that you will eventually, find an audience that appreciates that, whether it be 10 years down the road in hindsight, or whether it's very relevant now and people want to watch it now. It's art, and don't let anybody tell you when you should or shouldn't create art. If you feel compelled to make it, then get that out of your body, get that out of your system, and let it manifest in the real world. Don't let your parents, don't let your teachers, don't let anybody else tell you that that's a bad idea. If you want to go to school for chemistry but you like to paint, go and paint and do your chemistry as well. It's like that was the kind of urge that we had, where we said to ourselves that this needed to be created, something needed to be out there, because the mainstream media, like Fox, CNN, they weren't doing a just service to what was going on in the world. They were slandering it, they were smearing it, and I thought that, if we take an objective approach and we examine what's going on holistically, we can create a good product that encapsulates all the issues that are going on here and does it accurately and with some journalistic efficacy, I guess. But when I was speaking to art, I mean, if you've just got a creative itch, scratch it. Yeah, just scratch it. Just get it out of your body and make it, because you won't feel any better until you do.
Thank you for your time.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you very much for this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.